There was a good piece in the New York Times about Bari Weiss and how somebody with no television news experience got to run CBS News.
A rich Zionist put her there?
Yeah. The answer is that one of the wealthiest people in the world.
A 6-word article?
Yeah. Yeah. They made it a little more interesting than that, but basically, yeah, that's what happened.
That's my Vox explainer.
Thank you.
A rich Zionist put her there.
Hey, it's Axios now. That's where we're at. Bullet points. But it was, yeah, I mean, CBS, they wanted this merger, or Paramount wanted a merger approved. They sacrificed the Stephen Colbert show to make that happen. They got into cahoots with right-winger Bari Weiss, who claims not to be a right-winger, but this clip we're about to play makes it clear where the truth actually is. And so they got their mega merger approved, and now they're allowing for a right-wing takeover of a storied newsroom that has programs like 60 Minutes. Oh, I forgot they settled that frivolous lawsuit with the Trump administration to make this merger happen. Just showing that even, so-called liberal institutions have zero spine to stand up to profit motive. Like, that's where liberalism is failing, and that's why the Democrats are failing.
Well, I mean, I would caution, like, there's some ideological stuff happening here, too, with the Ellison choices.
Oh, yeah.
And all of these capitulations where they decide to settle with the Trump administration as opposed to fighting his court is because there are conservatives within these institutions that want to capitulate, that see this as a time for, to purge, basically, ideological enemies. This is what McCarthyism really was. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just this bad guy with too much power in the government going at and bullying Hollywood. There was a bunch of Hollywood folks who wanted that that sort of buzzsaw to start cutting, and they cut like crazy. So that's what's happening now.
It's a great excuse for it. And when we're talking about how this administration, and we're in an era of enclosure, right? Enclose our borders, enclose around our already extractive systems of, capitalism or energy sources, cut off innovation on climate change, fossil fuels, close the border, kick out everybody else, fortify. It's in Israel's policies too. Fortify, do it with violence, do it with force, do it with financial power. It's fundamentally illiberal. And that's where we could go in different directions. We can go down a fascism direction, or we could go towards a leftist collectivist vision. We're not there yet. But Bari Weiss is a part of that corporate media enclosure here. And it's trying to prevent the hordes of people saying committing genocide is bad, which is now, a majority of the country believes Israel is committing genocide. 8% of Democrats approve of Israel's military action in Gaza, only 25% of independents, and those numbers keep getting worse for Israel. So we shall use the power of the right-wing ideologues and the billionaires behind them to implement or to impose a right-wing Zionist at the top of one of the major media organizations. And she would object to being called a right-winger. I find that hilarious. And one of the reasons I find that hilarious is that the piece I referenced earlier, in the New York Times, they included a quote that from one of her speeches in 2023. This was November 2023 at the Federalist Society, where she was speaking, a obviously infamous right-wing group. And the New York Times piece had one part of the quote, but I wanted to do the full minute and a half or so, because the part after that where she mentions the West is also as important as when she talks about the tax cuts.
Tertiary culture war issues, that is the priority of the day. The other thing to look for right now is for the good, to look for the good in these moments of darkness and to not lose sight of it. There's a New York coffee shop owner named Aaron DeHaan. He had all of his baristas quit the other day because he put an Israeli flag in the window and began fundraising for Magen David Adom, which is the Israeli Red Cross. So they all quit. But his cafe didn't close. It was quite the opposite.
Wait, I'm
Suppliers
sorry.
sent
This
him
is
free.
not the right time code. So that's at the end of the timestamp. The timestamp starts at 23:28. No worries. So you guys caught
We
the
get to
end.
hear more Bari Weiss?
Yeah. What a joy.
But you get my point. The point is that things, prestige, they are not the point of our lives. Harvard and Yale don't give us value. We give us value. Something beyond ourselves gives us value. The something that is visible in the faces of so many people before me right now. And in recognizing allies, I'll be an example right now. I am a gay woman who is moderately pro-choice. I know that there are some people in this room who don't believe that my marriage should have been legal. And that's okay, because we're all Americans who want lower tax.
We got to go back because it's so good at full, but moderately
Moderately
pro-choice.
pro-choice?
Right. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Is it it's like to the right of the Biden position, which is that I think it's disgusting, but you should be able to do it, right? Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, what is it worth? Jack. It's worth nothing.
I know.
What is her entire political project? Has it done anything?
No.
Has this assault? Nothing.
Right. Okay. Go back a little bit.
I mean, she likes pro-choice in Israel.
So many people before me right now. And in recognizing allies, I'll be an example right now. I am a gay woman who is moderately pro-choice. I know that there are some people in this room who don't believe that my marriage should have been legal. And that's okay, because we're all Americans who want lower taxes.
Okay, pause. So that was the quote that was included in the New York Times piece. Damning enough on its own, right? I know most of you in this room think that my marriage to a woman is immoral, that the whole foundation of my life should be made illegal by the state, that you think I'm some sort of abomination.
You want
I
to
mean,
control my body.
yeah, but I'm moderate on your desire to control my body. That quote, because we all want tax cuts, but she's apparently not a conservative, is what she would say.
How much taxes we pay Israel?
Now the rest of the quote, because it didn't get as much attention, but this is also what she represents.
Should have been legal. And that's okay, because we're all Americans who want lower taxes. But I am here because I know that in the fight for the West, who my allies really are. And they are not the people who, looking at facile external markers of my identity, that I might imagine them to be. My allies, true allies, are people who believe that America is good. My allies are people who believe that the West is good and that human beings are created equal, and that saying so is essential to knowing what we are fighting for. America and our values, those are things worth fighting for. And that, and not any number of nonsensical or at least tertiary culture war issues, that is the priority of the day.
Okay, so Bari Weiss does not believe all people are equal. She believes in an
Joke.
You
apartheid
did the
state.
room. No applause break for that one.
Yeah, they're like, I mean, we know you're just saying that. So when she talks about the
Lorem
West,
ipsum.
but what's that code for? I support
White.
whiteness. I support capitalism. I support imperialism. I support everybody in this room making a shit ton more money. And look at how all of those things intersect. Now, I'm moderately pro-human rights. I mean, look, like, we have to make certain trade-offs. Maybe women don't have rights here, but rich people have the right to buy our elections. It's like, what? I mean,
By our networks, our news networks.
the moderate
put in
position.
toadies.
Yeah, so look, I hold this conservative position that corporations are human beings, but I also hold this liberal position that in some states, maybe women shouldn't have to bleed out in parking lots. But if you really corner me on that, you know where I'm going to side. And this is the kind of person where we talk about, like, why was Dave Rubin a thing for a moment, despite his clear, incredible lack of talent? And by the way, Bari Weiss was the first person to ever call him an intellectual. It's because he flattered conservatives. And she does the same thing, but in boardrooms. Like, I will make you feel like you supporting this fascist project for your own greed doesn't make you a horrible person in polite liberal cocktail society. I'm a gay woman. What?
Larry Ellison.
Right. I'll make you feel like you're an okay person. I will flatter your sensibilities, but I will say everything that validates your perspective. And this is why you see these people doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's the same grift. It's the same grift. It's Dave Rubin. It's Bari Weiss. It's Anna Kasparian. You just become politically homeless and the moderating voice that validates everything important to conservatives. And then you get an in and you get a pretty fat paycheck. So she's just like the Columbia educated version of Dave Rubin. And she does this kind of flattery in private as opposed to crudely on Rumble. Although I guess he's just a right-winger now. So it's a huge problem. I like, though, at least that the CBS staff seem to be leaking the details of their meetings and how cringy she was. What was the quote that we heard?
Let's do some fucking news. Sorry.
Let's do the fucking news. It's literally let's do the damn thing, like a white girl phrase from 10 years ago.
She thought she was Logan Roy on the soapbox of the floor. Yeah.
Did you see Ezra Klein's response to this?
No. What? He's a fan?
Ezra Klein is playing the Ezra Klein game.
Oh, he's the other grifter on this now thing now as a center.
Which is the people that you are looking to through these different sort of communications devices to interpret the world for you actually have a huge part of their brain concerned, not with the, analyzing reality, but figuring out how to fucking keep the rich people that keep them in, Ubers and whatever, how to keep them happy, how to keep the money people happy. That's all this game is here. Here is Ezra Klein. I think he was talking with Doubthat here. I'm not 100% sure where this is from, but Ezra says, my thing about Bari, and I've been on her show, I have a lot of admiration for how good she is at what she does. Just already just vomit. My disagreements with Bari are that I think she's asymmetric in sympathy and generosity. Interviewer says, tell me what that means. Ezra says, I've thought the free press work on, say, starvation in Gaza has been really bad. Interviewer spelled out. It's done this whole, thing well, a lot of kids who have died have been reported on, well, they had secondary conditions, and yes, when you starve a population, the people who die first will be the most vulnerable, but that's not exculpatory. There was an overwhelming evidence. Here's the thing, Ezra. You can just say that she is a Zionist propagandist. That's what she is. Why are we coy about this? That's what she's done since college. We all know this. This is in the record. You can Google it. This is what her imperative is. That's her job, is to be asymmetric about, what is it? Sympathy and generosity? That's why she's there. That's where the money is. The money is not symmetric in its sympathy and generosity. Look at the fucking world. And so this whole game where Ezra has to say I've been on her show. Oh, and great job hiring Tyler Cowen. The reason why our show has the popularity, people like Ezra are annoyed with us, because we don't fucking do that. We don't bend the need to say I need to stay in somewhat good graces with Bari Weiss. This is an attack on your information system.
But there, she has the pseudo-intellectual thing that, like, there are people that find some sort of, like, I don't know, comfort in feeling like they're being informed.
Disney
by
her.
Her. Yeah, I understand. I mean, it's just
the people who lose. The reason we don't have a democracy.
Yes.
Like those
it's
people.
Like this faux politics, this faux intellectualism that sounds extremely reasonable but says literally nothing new. The most empty calories.
Zero historicism. Like, oh no, Kamala has to stay close to Joe Biden or something bad will happen. What does history tell us about that? That actually there's a benefit maybe to showing some independence and a little bit of leadership capacity if you want to be the fucking president of the United States. But no, it's this brainless corporate structure.
But she and she in particular too, and we'll get off this in a second, but like she left the New York Times. She resigned from the New York Times because she couldn't get fired.
Which is clearly what she was going for.
She was trying to get fired. She resigned and self-canceled because, to bring it back to that speech to the Federalist Society, rich dudes that are upset about the media covering them in an unflattering way, or maybe calling out their abusive practices or their abuse of their employees or of women or of anybody or their racism, they hate the press targeting them for those reasons. And she carved out a niche for herself by saying, I am the person who won't do that basically for you. I am being canceled. I'm self-canceling because I have the same concerns that you do about the direction of the New York Times newsroom or of all the liberal media and all that kind of thing. And that's how she got just paid millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars. Because I think the Free Press was bought for $150 million, which is not the value, clearly, in terms of like what it's generating. But the value for Zionists and for wealthy people is immense.
Exactly. This is not about profit. This is not about doing a profitable news organization. This is about ideological control.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.